What's up everyone, welcome back to another video on Lex Alexis. Today it is Transfer Tuesday, which means it's another episode of the Transfer Show. We've got half a dozen of new signings to go over, and we've got some latest transfer news and rumours that we've got to go through as well. If you guys like this transfer series and you want to keep it as Transfer Tuesday, make sure you do give the video a like. It does tremendously help the channel. Let's try and aim for 15 likes in this video. I'd be terrifically appreciative. If you've not hit the red subscribe button, please do so. It does really help the channel. We're trying to push to 900 subscribers. We are very close to that goal now. If you can hit the subscribe button, it'll be appreciative, and please do share the channel as well. That is how we're going to grow as a community together. But without any further ado, let's start talking about the latest transfer news. The first transfer I'll talk about is Ethan Laird. Now, there was a lot of controversy and a lot of Swansea fans going after Ethan Laird on Twitter. I saw his intro video when he joined Bournemouth and he was completely hounded down, and I was like, give the young guy a break. He's 20 years of age. He can do exactly, what he wants. He got recalled from Swansea to Manchester United, and then obviously Bournemouth have now been able to secure him on a loan deal. So Swansea fans understandably do feel a little bit betrayed, but Bournemouth clearly wanted him, and actually for the position that Bournemouth are in right now and for the competition they've got in their defenders right now, and following the injury of Zamora, he could be a really good replacement because he can play right back alongside with centre back as well. So I think that's a really good signing for Bournemouth. Also a signing for Bournemouth is James Hill. Now, he was one of my rumours from last week's transfer show. I did think that would be confirmed, and lo and behold, literally within an hour of my last video being recorded, an hour later, James Hill confirmed that he signed for Bournemouth from Fleetwood Town, a £1.08 million signing, I believe, which will be Fleetwood's most expensive transfer ever, and the only time they've got a player in for over £1 million. So a groundbreaking moment for Fleetwood, and James Hill is a lot younger than me. He's not even 20 years of age, and for him to have the opportunity to be a defender at this team like Bournemouth, who are top of the championship, I just don't think he could have turned that down. Bali Mumba has joined Peterborough from Norwich on a loan deal, and he couldn't have had a better start to his career, really, to be honest. He scored his first ever professional goal, scoring for Peterborough in the FA Cup game against Bristol Rovers. Could this be a time for him to maybe kick on? He's a right back, so he's not a traditional goal scorer, but if he can have a really good bit of defensive play, something that Peterborough really lacked throughout the season, then I think Peterborough could definitely really do well with him. They're definitely making an intent to try and improve their squad, which is good signs for Peterborough. Taylor Richards has signed to Birmingham from Brighton on a loan deal. Likewise with James Hill, he was also one of my rumours, which I did expect to be confirmed very soon. Interesting signing. Whether he's going to slot in immediately, I don't know. He might need a little bit of time to try and slot in, but I think he could be definitely a good flair player for Birmingham, and Birmingham, with the position that they're in, they really need to improve their squad and get some fresh legs in, following the departures that they've also had in their squad too. Nottingham Forest have made yet another signing, Richie Laryea from Toronto. Interesting signing, another right back. A lot of teams seems to be signing right backs at the moment, but he's 27 years of age. It's a very interesting signings. A player I don't know too much about, but clearly very experienced, has played the game for quite a long time, and it's not been the only signing. In fact, Nottingham Forest have been going to the MLS, trying to dip in players in as well. Horvath also came from the MLS as well. I know he's not really played that much this season. I can see Laryea popping in and out potentially. I think he could be a really good bench player for playing at right back. He'll be a good replacement for Georgian Asai Tutu, who's now returned to Arsenal. Jake Beasley has joined Blackpool from Rochdale. He's actually having his most prolific season. I think he scored 12 goals so far this season for Rochdale. Rochdale, with their position in the table, have not done so well, and obviously Rochdale, with the expectation that they have and the squad that they have, I think they should definitely push for promotion, but they just haven't, unfortunately. And I think when a team like Blackpool, who are doing very well in their division, come calling, I don't think Jake Beasley could have really turned that down. And of course, he's actually fulfilling what his father did as well, Paul Beasley, who was a centre-back for Blackpool as well. So like father like son, I would say. So these are all of the confirmed transfers that have happened so far in this week. I was expecting a little bit more, but potentially when it goes near to the end of the month, we're going to get a lot more transfers. But one thing that we do have plenty of is rumours, and blimey, some of the rumours that I've picked up, we do need to talk about those. Now, one of the biggest situations going on with QPR is the goalkeeper situation. Seny Dieng, their first choice goalkeeper, is at the Africa Cup of Nations playing for Senegal. Jordan Archer, their second choice goalkeeper, is injured. So there's a bit of a crisis going around QPR at the moment, and they've been looking at a couple of goalkeepers that they can go for. They were looking at Freddie Woodman one stage, they were looking at Christian Walton from Ipswich in League One, but it looks like now that they're going to go for David Marshall, and they're looking for a loan transfer, but what I've heard very, very recently, it could be a permanent signing or a signing to the end of the season, or like a very short-term signing, which I think would definitely be suitable. Marshall's not played a single minute so far this season with Derby. He's fallen down the pecking order to third choice goalkeeper Ryan Allsop, and of course Kelly Roos are ahead of him in the pecking order, and he has got an abundance of championship experience, and I think if he joins QPR and can play in goal for a couple of games, I just don't think it'll be the end for work for QPR at all. I think he's a good enough goalkeeper, experienced enough, and I think that'll be a good signing if QPR can pull it off. Going back to Derby County, they're linked with 2 players so far, and 2 wide players, which I do want to talk about. The first one's from League One, Jordan Jones of Wigan Athletic. I am very excited about this player, and I was actually more excited to see if he stayed with Wigan, and if Wigan got promoted, I would see how he performed in that squad. But at the moment, Derby are keeping their eyes on him. He's 27 years of age, and he's not the only club linked with him. Barnsley, Luton, Reading and Blackpool have all been linked with Jordan Jones, so definitely a player high in demand, and it's no surprise based on the position Wigan find themselves. But another potential rumour which I really want to talk about is Amad Diallo. Now, he's been linked with Derby. Wayne Rooney is clearly a fan of him. He's definitely seen him. Of course, being a Man United player, he's going to follow Manchester United, and I think Amad Diallo is definitely a player that's definitely caught his attention. Diallo's just not getting any game time at all. I just don't know if Manchester United are going to be willing to let him go out on loan. They've already let go of Ted and Mengi, of course. Are they going to do the same with Diallo, or is Diallo going to go to an international club and get some minutes there? That might be more beneficial for him with his potential, but maybe a championship club could be exactly what he needs if he wants to try and have a bit more of a long-term future with Manchester United. Another transfer rumour involves the Blackpool winger Josh Bowler. I really have been a fan of Josh Bowler. I think when they got him from Everton, I wasn't too sure about the signing, to be honest, but when I saw him this season, he's been fantastic. He's done the most dribbles out of all of that Blackpool squad. He's been linked with so many clubs. Fulham, Forest, Blackburn are the 3 big clubs, and they are free sides right up there in the top 9 of the table. Of course, Blackburn and Fulham being in the top 3, which goes to show that if you're attracting that sort of talent, it's really, really big for Josh Bowler, and it just goes to show how much of a great season he's had. I'll be very, very worried if he joined Fulham. I don't think he'd particularly get a load of time there. Blackburn especially, I think he'll get a couple of minutes from there. I think they definitely looked at Josh Bowler as being one of the key players to why Blackburn lost against Blackpool early on in the season. So I think more or less Blackburn, I think he'll link with very, very well. Now, Ben Brereton Diaz is going to be linked with many Premier League clubs, but what I saw recently, bizarrely, was that 2 big La Liga clubs have been linked with Ben Brereton Diaz, Real Madrid and Barcelona. I mean, if Ben Brereton Diaz turns out to be a Real Madrid player, I've seen everything. A guy born in Stoke, honestly, looking like that his career was just going to have so much promise but not get anywhere, was called up for Chile, had a breakout tournament there, and then has had a breakout season there, and then joins Real Madrid within a couple of seasons. That will be absolutely crazy. It'll be the comeback story of the century. Now, another player linked with a lot of interest is Djed Spence, and I think this is definitely after his fantastic performance for Nottingham Forest against Arsenal that knocked out Arsenal out of the FA Cup. Honestly, the fact that I heard my brother, who's very critical football analysis when it comes to performances, and saying that he has been absolutely immense, and he said he wouldn't actually mind him at Chelsea. And to be honest, with our lack of fullbacks at the moment, I might not even, say no to that. But what I will say, I think it's going to be difficult for Forest to let him go. I think Forest are definitely going to be very determined to keep a lot of their squad. They've already made a lot of signings. They definitely want to have a really good second part of the season. Keep your eye on Djed Spence for next year, because who knows if he's going to stay at Forest, especially if they don't get promoted. Newcastle United have been linked with Lyndon Dikes, which I think is very interesting. Not only has he got a good amount of championship experience, but in terms of international experience, he's got a really good amount of potential. But I think it's clear for me, Newcastle need a new striker, but is Lyndon Dykes really going to be the best player for Premier League level, as someone who's not even played in the Premier League? I don't know if he's going to be the best player. I'm being interested as well that Norwich, Burnley and Crystal Palace have been linked as well. But it goes to show when you're getting the bottom 3 and Crystal Palace linked with this player, you know, they're looking at players who've got great potential but not necessarily can definitely deliver the same success. So I think Lyndon Dikes, for me, still as a player, has not really had that season for me where I think he could definitely take on the Premier League. If someone like Mitrovic can struggle to adapt to the Premier League, who's scoring these amount of goals, then I don't even know how many goals or even starts Lyndon Dikes is going to get, if I'm going to be honest. So it's a tough one, but I can definitely see some potential with Lyndon Dikes. He just needs to try and improve on his clinical finishing, and then he might have a chance. Millwall are linked with Zian Fleming, which is interesting. He plays for Fortuna Sittard. I think I said that club name right. I apologise if I have not. They've already paid 1.3 million euros for him, but that bid was rejected. He's an attacking midfielder, and from the fact that Millwall have not scored too many goals this season, he could be one of the catalyst players that can definitely improve on their goal scoring form. So a bit of an unknown quantity, but it could be a really good signing if they can pull it off. But to have 1.3 million euros rejected, Mill got to very tread carefully. Stoke City are looking like that they are going to capture Taylor Harwood-Bellis from Manchester City. They are on the verge for getting him in, and I think he'll be one of those players that will sign within a couple of days or maybe even a couple of hours after this video gets released. A lot of potential. I've seen him play and start a couple of games for Manchester City, especially in those league and competition games. For the fact that they lost Leo Ostergaard and for the fact they've had those injuries, especially to Sutar in that position, I think he'll be a very good replacement. The thing I fear with him is probably the lack of competitive experience. But with a side like Stoke, I definitely think he's got enough experienced leveled heads that could definitely ease him into the squad. So I think this will be a very interesting signing, an exciting signing for Harwood-Bellis. One of the biggest transfer stories is Middlesbrough going to get Florian Balogun. We've already talked about him once in the previous transfer show. Now, we are hearing that they're going to try and get him in for £1 million. But that is a loan deal, and the £1 million that come in is going to be his wages as well. I don't know if it includes his wages or not, because his wages, for I don't know, are absolutely ridiculous. Steve Gibson has got to be very, very careful with this. We've already seen clubs try and gamble on clubs' success and get temporary players in and get punished. Look at what Derby had, for instance. You know, they've got to be very, very careful, Middlesbrough, because they've already got some really good players in there, have spent a little bit of money already, and especially if they've spent a bit of money in the summer transfer window as well. So they've got to be very, very careful that they don't exceed the FFP. Otherwise, if Middlesbrough do not get ultimately what they want, which is promotion, they could have some really tough consequences next year. Charlie Brown said this yesterday on a live stream, but Cody Drameh is set to have a medical with Cardiff City moving from Leeds United, and I only just saw the news article of it now. I think likewise with Harwood-Bellis, I think both of them will be announced very, very soon. Interesting player. And another fullback. We're getting a lot of movement from fullbacks, which is very, very interesting, but a good amount of potential, and I'm excited to see if he makes a really good impact with Cardiff. The final transfer rumour or bit of news I want to talk about is on Djed Wallace. Now, I wasn't expecting Djed Wallace to get this much interest, to be honest, but he's being linked with Forest, Besiktas, Middlesbrough and Sheffield United. It's funny that the same two clubs, Forest and Middlesbrough, are linked with just everyone. It's clear that Nottingham Forest and Middlesbrough have been the two busiest teams in the window so far, and they intend to really improve their squad. Wallace, you know, with him playing as a wide player, he could potentially slot in a little bit more central as well, so very versatile. But in terms of the players that they've got, maybe if Morgan Gibbs-White gets recalled, I think he'd be a good replacement with Sheffield United. But as for what I've heard, Morgan Gibbs-White is not going to be recalled as of yet. So I think Djed Wallace staying at Millwall is going to be important for them, because Djed Wallace really is the player that creates all their chances, really. I said previously on Matt SB's video that he's created the second most key passes. Only John Swift has got more. So it's clear that Djed Wallace has got a really integral part in this Millwall squad, and if they lose him, then Millwall can forget any sort of potential that they may have in the season. So I think for Millwall's sake, they've got to try and keep Wallace in, but it'll be interesting to see if they do cash out of him, to see what price he'll get, because with how good he's been with Millwall for so many years, he could definitely get a pretty hefty price range. We've still got a good amount of weeks left still before the transfer window is going to shut again. So we are going to have a couple more episodes in the next coming weeks or so. I'm hoping for a really entertaining transfer window, as I think everyone is. Right, I think I have to wrap it up for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed the video, please do give the video a like. It does tremendously help the channel. If you've not hit the red subscribe button, please do so. It does really help the channel. And please share this channel to as many people as you can. All of that is really going to help the growth of the channel. But I'll wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are legendary if you saw any of this video. And as always, I'll see you guys very, very soon. Take care, everyone.